Here we have a different fighting event, and this time I'll show you the fighting mini-game as it is. So I'll pick number 2 here. You can see that there's a different graphic here. Whether that looks more or less dangerous than the previous one is up for you to decide and discover. Anyway, I press number 2 here and we're brought to this screen, which takes some explanation, I'm sure. But from top to bottom, we have shield strength, which is your possible force field that you can erect using your shield chain. Then its strength will show up here. You have your own health and the health of your foe. And then down here, we sort of have the strategy section. I will go into that more in a moment. Here we have attack power. That's the amount of damage I can do with a normal physical attack. I don't have a weapon, so it will just be a punch. And my defense power, which is calculated adding up my armor, which is light armor plus a shield, and also I think my flexibility and my fighter skill. I don't have any fighting skill, so that's why it's so low, relatively speaking. Now back to this portion here. You have attack, defense, and item, and then actions. These are 0, and actions is 6. And using the arrow keys, I can move with left and right here, and I can transfer actions to these various choices using the up and down keys as I do, move things around, move points around here, and then confirm with enter. You'll see down here, actually, this is explained down here to some extent. It also says number 6 key, when in the item menu, cancels item use. I'll explain that later. And number 5 key, surrender. So if I'm doubtful as to the wisdom of continuing this fight, at any point I can press 5 to surrender, and that just means giving up most of my cash and rations, if not all, in return for my life. So it's not a great option. But if you feel that the fight is going against you, then that's what you should do. Now, this is the interesting part. Attack means, actually, if I do 4 in attack, that is, I will use my attack power times 4. My attack will have the power of 4, or rather, I'll make 4 attacks, I guess. It doesn't matter how you see it, if this is number of attacks or just the severity, the intensity of it. That's the result, 4 times 10. Defense, in the same way, is this number multiplied by this, so that would be 48. I will use my skill and my armor to protect me with this intensity. And that will be measured up against the robber's strength. Now, you have to know that the robber's strategy is similar. The robber doesn't have the item choice, which I'll explain in a moment. But they have the attack and defense choice, and how they dispense their action points is randomly generated. But you have to know that they always put some points into defense, at least a little. But do not know how many. There will be a few, maybe 1 or 2 at least, but it might be 9, because the robber, I believe, has either 10 or 12 actions to dispense. You can get more actions by leveling up your fighting skill. For every level of fighter you have, you will get 1 more action. 6 is the lowest. I have no fighter skill. But that means you can get a maximum of 16, which is more than the robber, guaranteed. I'm nowhere near that, though. Item, then. Well, using an item means using a magical item. And in order to use a magical item, I need to put at least 3 actions into that. But of course, that might be dangerous for me. I don't know. He'll probably strike me quite hard. So this might damage me a lot, even though I don't know, actually. But you see, the attack and defense are reset to 0 every round. Once I press enter here, the game will calculate what happens if I survive, if the robber survives, and then we'll get to the next round. Same thing as this one. But item uses can be stocked up, or item actions. So I can put 1 action there and 5 in defense. And I'll press enter here to see what happens. Hopefully I survive. Good. I managed to defend myself completely. I didn't take any damage. And of course the foe didn't take any damage because I didn't make any attack at all. And now I have 6 more actions to dispense, as you can see. But I have 1 remaining in item. Basically, I imagine that while you're defending or attacking or whatever you're doing, you're surreptitiously preparing to use one of your magical items. So I'll put 2 points there now, and 4 in defense. And with those 2, I reach 3, which will allow me to use an item. I can put more there. Let me say this. Every time you use an item, even if you just use 1, you will lose all the actions stocked up in the item category. So even if you have 9 there, you will use them all up, even if you just use 1 item. Let me press enter here and show you what I mean. Because if I have 3 or more actions there, I'll be taken to my item menu. But just to show you how to skip, you remember the 6 key here, skip item use, because I want to use 2 items at the same time. So I'll just press 6. This should allow me to skip, I think. Yes. Now it calculated again, and I retain my item uses with 6 more actions. So let's do that again. I'll put 3 more actions there and 3 into defense. Now then, I can, for example, use my shield chain, just like normal item use. But since I have had 6 actions in item, I'm allowed to use another one. I'll use my fire ring to make an attack. Let's just use all of them for the sake of showing off. So there you go. I don't know if I'll defeat the robber this time. We shall see. I did not defeat him. I only did 25 damage. And he struck me hard enough to eliminate my shield strength. So you never saw it. It wasn't powerful, it was only 10. Let's try and strike him. Let's do 3 and 3, because I don't have any more fire ring charges left. That didn't do anything for either. Ah, there it did something. You see, even if I did the same thing twice, the same strategy twice, I don't know what the robber did either time. And so obviously, the first time he put quite a lot of actions into defense and very few into attack, so he didn't harm me and I couldn't harm him. But the second time he probably put quite a lot into attack and obviously therefore less in defense. So I could harm him, but he could harm me very much too. Now he was at 75, so I struck him for 30, but he struck me for 38. I don't know if I'll win this. Let's see. Try the same thing again. Didn't go very well. 15-24. You see, I'm very skeptical as to my chances of surviving this. Let's try a slightly different approach. That didn't do anything. We'll try this a few times and maybe give up, otherwise surrender, because I don't want to die here. Now, I could, of course, try to heal. That's smart. So I use my health stone here, and I want to heal a lot. 7. Yes. Now, sadly, we noticed a slight bug here. My health should not be 100, it should be 94. Because I had 24 and I healed 70. But I might fix this. Or not, it depends on how deep it is. I'll check if it's deep enough to worry about. This should be able to defeat him. I can actually do this. Yes, there we go. Even though he struck me very hard, he being a much better fighter, I got him down below 0 in health, and so we have prevailed. There we go. And now you see my health is up to 100, even though it was 45 at the end. So definitely a bug that needs checking. I'll try to get that fixed though, before a release of the game, or before the release of this video at least. Check in with me for the final event in the next video.